You're listening to BEC Talks, the Brampton Entrepreneur Centre's new podcast where we discuss all things small business.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first edition of BEC Talks. My name is Prince Khan, and I'm the supervisor of the Brampton Entrepreneur Centre, plus co-working space. And BEC Talks is our new podcast where we will be exploring different facets of entrepreneurship and small business. If you have a business you're looking to accelerate or thinking about starting a business, have an entrepreneurial journey or quest that you want to fulfill, come visit us at 41 George Street at the Brampton Entrepreneur Centre, or you can visit our website at www.brampton.ca/BEC for more amazing resources. We can support you in all aspects of your business, from advisory services, events, getting you the market research support you need, grant funding, loan funding, name it. We're here to support you. So today we have a very special topic planned for you all, and our guest today is Sherry-Anne. Sherry-Anne, how are you doing today?
I am fine. Thank you for having me. So happy to be here.
Absolutely happy to have you join us for our very first BEC Talks session. So Sherry-Anne is the CEO of SACB Consulting and is an industry professional within the environmental sustainability space. And Sherry-Anne, why don't you introduce us to a little bit more about your career, what you've kind of gone through, and what are you doing now in terms of environmental sustainability for small businesses?
Okay, so the first I'll say is I don't have an environmental background. That's not where I've come from.
Wow, okay.
I've transitioned into the industry. And so, first of all, Sherry-Anne Bedminster, SACB Consulting. And we're a unique boutique sustainability consulting company working with small and medium-sized companies to help them adopt sustainable practices and transition to the green economy. And so my background is a bit banking, really. I like to say I grew up in banking. And so I worked really with RBC for about 35 years, and at the end of 2021 decided that I wanted to do something different. And, the climate and social justice and all those things are near and dear to my heart. And I figured someone's got to do something about it, and if not me, who? And so I've done the work to transition, to learn, and here I am, wanting to work with small businesses.
What a big jump from 35 years in the banking sector to now environmental sustainability specialist.
Yes.
Who would have thought 35 years ago, Sherry-Anne, you would be doing that?
No one, and some thought I was crazy when I left, but here I am, excited to do it.
Well, we're glad you're here, and it's interesting to see a topic like this because a lot of entrepreneurs don't really consider environmental sustainability as one of the major focuses in their business. So it's interesting to maybe get some viewpoints from you in terms of what's its relevancy, how is it important, and what they should consider. So we have a few questions prepared, and I'm just going to go through each one and just want to kind of pick your brain a little bit. So in terms of common misconceptions small businesses have about environmental sustainability, can you name a few that you maybe noticed in this space over the last few years?
Oh, I sure can. One of the biggest is that it's costly. And so there's this perceived trade-off that for me to work on sustainability, I have to forfeit my profitability. And so businesses struggle with that. But what they don't see or are aware of is that sustainability actually often leads to cost savings. So there are things that you can do that, whether it be around water, or energy, et cetera, that will actually save you money. SMEs, small, medium enterprise, you'll hear me say SMEs a lot, don't see this as something that they should be working on. They think it's all about the larger companies. But statistically, SMEs represent about 99.8% of all businesses in Canada. Globally, they're in the 99% range.
Right.
It's very similar. And in Canada, SMEs, they emit about 40% of the carbon emissions, that plan that we've got, right, to reduce, our carbon. And so if SMEs can't work at this, then Canada's not getting anywhere. And so in order to protect our natural and physical resources, for today and tomorrow, we need to understand that everyone, not just SMEs, but all businesses, individuals, associations, government, need to work on it. There is also no mandate that says you have to. So where do I start? So anyway, what I'll say is that sustainability is not just good for the planet, it's good for your business too. And so I think that SMEs need to start seeing that climate risk is a business risk.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's a future that's really looking at these sustainable social goals, and we don't actively see it, but we're starting to see it a little bit more than we did 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
Basically, with global warming and all the things that are happening around the world, people are getting a little bit more serious about this stuff. So I can totally imagine with SMEs being 99% of basically the business population, how this is very relevant for them. So thank you for sharing that. So, in your opinion, how can small businesses start integrating sustainability into their operations without significant upfront costs? Is there ways that they can save money or resources that they have access to where they can actually do it without having significant issues?
Yes, there is. The first thing is to really think about it. And so for a small business owner, medium-sized owner, time is precious. They're all caught up in the day-to-day operations of their business. And so what I would suggest is don't make sustainability a separate thing. And this is how I talk to my clients, is weave it into your strategy so that in your day-to-day and your weekly, monthly, it's just part of what you do. And so I say, tackle once you do certain assessments, there's certain things that we, in banking, we called it low-hanging fruits, right? And so there are things that you can work on that's not going to cost you a lot, that's not going to take a lot of energy, that you can really, simple changes like switching out energy-efficient lighting, reducing waste. Some people don't even have a recycling program indoors, right? They can cut your monthly expenses. Also, they can start small with some of these really small, impactful things. And I would say there was a recent survey done by the BDC, and it showed that even when SMEs were spending money to work on sustainability, that they were actually recouping, on average, their investment in 16 months.
Oh, wow.
So really and truly, there are ways that they can start, but really, first of all, it's knowing where you're at, right? And then figuring out some of those few things that you can start with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think if a small business understands that this is the stage we're at, this is where we want to be, setting those goals and those plans can eventually lead to cost reduction in the long term, as you said, 16 months. But we sometimes tend to look at the present moment of it's costing me too much, right?
Right.
Long term, we don't see that. So I think small businesses kind of have to pivot now to look at the long term of what can this really become and how can we really save money in, like you said, 16 months from now, right? So what are some of the biggest barriers small businesses face when they're trying to adopt sustainable practices for their companies?
We just talked about the investment required. So uncertainty about the ROI, the return on investment, is a key one. They just don't know, if I have to spend this money, when am I going to recoup it? What am I going to get out of it? And so in addition to the perceived cost, education is key. Now, it's very unfortunate, but flooding and heat and, fires, it's closer to us. So we're seeing it, right? And businesses are actually recognizing that they themselves, it's costing them, supply chain, etc. But that was another issue is the awareness piece of it, the education of it. And it can just seem overwhelming. Like, where do I start? What do I do, Also limited resources. If I am a 5-man shop or, 10-woman shop or whatever, who's going to work on this? How much do I have to put into it? I have all these priorities that I have to meet. I have my employees, I have my clients, I have, and then who has the expertise really to help me work through this? So those are other, some of the other issues. Owners are also, concerned in terms of of where do I start. It's important for them to complete an assessment. So I believe that, it's not good to just go blindly. Yes, I meet clients who are already changing bulbs and doing things, but I say to them, look, if at some point you're asked what your impact is and how you've worked through this and how you've moved the bar, what are you going to say if you don't have a baseline and you don't really understand where you've started from? So who's going to do that for them, right? I also feel that what gets measured gets done. So these are some of the challenges that in the SME world they're facing.
Yeah, those KPIs, right? The performance indicators of this is what we are trying to achieve, setting those ahead of time rather than saying, okay, let's just do this because we want to do it.
Exactly.
Right?
And you can set your KPIs only after knowing where you're at.
Right.
And then figuring out where you want to get to, right? And so that's missing often.
Amazing answer. Thank you so much. So how can small businesses balance the need for environmental sustainability with maintaining their profitability?
So first of all, let's make sure that, we understand that sustainability often provides a clear ROI. Okay? Energy savings, waste reduction, even increasing operational efficiency, those savings can quickly add up. And so businesses are finding opportunities from doing the assessments to develop new products and services, to expand into new segments, because once they do the work, they're figuring these niches, right, that they can get into. Increasingly, you're seeing customers ask a business about their environmental plan, footprint, etc. And they're not really, and these customers are are willing to pay a little bit more for a sustainable product if it aligns with their values. I know I'm like that. I read things, I research things now, and even in my investments. And I look at what truly is it supporting before I actually put my money there. So, the other thing is, sustainability doesn't just, we've talked a little bit and a lot so far about the environmental aspects, but it doesn't just address environment. It also addresses social and governance impacts. So what I'm seeing is, for working through an assessment with a company, they're all of a sudden realizing that, I should have a health and safety policy. I need to be thinking about how I develop my employees. I should be thinking about what my reward system looks like. So those are things that are actually coming to the front. And then risk management. So, right, think about it. If you're doing these assessments, you're digging deeper into your businesses, you are often identifying risks that you didn't even realize were there. And so for digging deeper and for putting a plan in place, you're really future-proofing your business. You're setting it up to be successful in the long run. So, that's really what I'd say about that.
Yeah, no, those are awesome points, and I know some businesses, some applications that have come out recently, really help companies, for example, in the food industry, where they can sell products at the end of the day instead of putting it into environmental waste. They can give it to people at a reduced cost while still sort of maintaining that profitability. So things like that some entrepreneurs may not consider. Kind of get overlooked. But of course, risk management is part of that. Is this going to add more cost to our business, or is this going to add more efficiency? Are we going to be doing good for the environment while maintaining our reputation? So there's lots of things that are sort of considered there. In terms of communication, how can small business owners communicate their sustainability efforts to customers and stakeholders?
So I would say, we're very close to the USA. And so not so much here, although there are pockets of it, but there is this huge backlash, right, about ESG. Like, let's be honest about it. You hear a lot about that. You think it's taking something from you. It's work. I don't even understand what that word means most days. But, there's all these misconceptions and misinformation about it, right? So businesses often, sometimes when they're working on sustainability, sometimes they'll work on it but not want to talk about it. And I'll say, yes, absolutely talk about it. Talk about it because a customer like me, your supplier, they want to know that you're doing this, right? And so I'd say be transparent. Just explain, but just be honest about it. Explain the initiatives that you're taking, explain what you're implementing, explain what the results are and what's how you're progressing. Tell them what you still need to work on, right? That builds credibility for you. Share data and metrics. So it's great to talk about I am environmentally friendly. In fact, if you're aware, Canada just, I think it's the C, they just updated their law, Bill C-59, the Competition Act that tackles greenwashing. So if you're going to say that you have an environmentally friendly product, that you are environmentally friendly, you'd better be able to back it up with data and facts, right?
Right.
And in a way that, that is consistent with certain frameworks and measurements. So you have to really think about that. Also know your audience and be clear. So if you're talking to or wanting to share this information with your customers, it will be who really is, more concerned about the quality and the environmental footprint of your product. It likely is different than if you're talking to your banker who really wants to know about the risk aspects of your business and really, the long-term value of it before they finance you. Share stories and videos and updates about your initiatives. Use your company's website, use your social platforms. If you have a newsletter, create a little corner where you can give regular update on sustainability. And don't forget to engage your customers and your employees. You'd be surprised about the kind of feedback that they can give you and the ideas that they themselves have. And if they're part of it and they own it, you're just more likely to be successful. Stories are powerful, right? So when you're sharing along, show the journey, focus on your process, show them the outcomes, and have some fun with it. Don't forget to celebrate your achievements, Typically, they're having to educate their staff, et cetera, to start if they're not there. But remember that if they're there with you, celebrate your wins, and be honest about what's not working well and brainstorm how you can work with that.
Those are amazing points. And I think one of the main things I got from there was it can really be a value proposition on top of your business's product or service, because you can offer product or service, but now when you integrate sustainability into this, now you can market something completely different, but supporting your initial mission of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I absolutely love all those points, and I think there's a whole marketing aspect to this as well that small businesses just don't consider or think about.
Brand, you want to compete, right? You are competing in your industry market, and so this can set you apart as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of brands that I know personally that really focus on that environmental sustainability aspect, and they're the ones that can show it and then have people backing them up as well in terms of consumers. Amazing. So how can small businesses collaborate with other organizations or networks to enhance their sustainability efforts?
So industry, often, first of all, understand that you're not alone. And even if this may be new for you and you've just started your journey, you do have associations, business networks, that can provide resources, tools, guidance in terms of how you start and how you work through things. And so if you're going to tackle it on your own, there are organizations and some associations that have already put together guidance that will help you. They also provide things like workshops, etc. So take that hour. There are a lot of workshops and webinars. Sometimes it's an hour to 90 minutes that can actually inform you and get you started. Associations are great also because they tend to focus on your particular industry. And so where you're not all the same, right? You know that food is different than manufacturing, is different than service, etc. And so they will tend to focus and on the type of things that are material to your company, given your particular industry. In addition, there are best practices out there where people have already developed it, tried it, it's worked. Don't recreate the wheel. Honestly, just steal it. and in the sustainability world, I'll tell you, we're very giving and open, and you
Yeah.
know, we're very, very okay with you actually copying, because pace is so important. We need to work at this fast. We've just spent too much time, you know, pausing. Experts also, if you feel like you don't have the internal, you know, expertise, there are experts like myself and others who can help you. We help in terms of taking you through the steps, demystifying it, simplifying it, so that you can work on your business. And so it doesn't then become overwhelming for you to want to do everything. Financing also, you know, given my background, I've got to talk about that. So you need to know that banks also have started providing green financing, and it's directly targeted against sustainability. So, you know, think about that, as well as the government. There's so many, you know, the government also, to move the bar, have got a number of grants and loans and tax incentives for businesses to actually work on their sustainability plans. So, you know, just know that you're not alone, and there are just a lot out there that can support you. And if you don't know, just like Google or give a call. Yeah.
So I guess just a play-on question for that one. So what role do these industry associations then play in your network in supporting small businesses in sustainability?
So Sam will actually come in and do assessments, and they will, you know, they'll give you. So that's key, right? So okay, let's start with education. I think we start there, because I'm finding that a lot of people are still not even comfortable with what sustainability is and what they should be doing. So education is key. These associations, these companies do a number of workshops. A lot of them are free. A lot of webinars. A lot of them are free. And so education is key. The other thing is, some will actually come into your business and they will do assessments. Some partner with municipalities, so
Right.
it could be free for you as a business. But if it's not, they will come in and they will do an assessment to make you understand where you're at and what you're missing. People like me also have assessment tools that will just ask you a lot of questions. And those questions form, an idea of where you're at. Sometimes I don't even have to tell you. I can see the lights bulbs going off as we talk. You can self-identify that, okay. And then if let's face it, if you're not working at this and there are 20 things to do, you cannot start with 20 things.
Right.
So they help you prioritize and decide, okay, what's easy for you? What's low-hanging? What's cheaper? What's reasonable given your budget? Where do you start? And then also reporting, right? Like reporting is also, it's an art. It's not just about, because there are certain formats and templates that if you're to be compared to other businesses, it needs to be, you need to be able to compare it. So there are templates and formats that you need and frameworks that you need to follow. So they help you in that regard as well.
Excellent. Well, those are some great pointers, and I think industry associations play a huge role in getting your business out there and getting it recognized for some of these initiatives. So appreciate all those thoughts, Sherry-Anne. Really appreciate you joining us today. So that's the end of our session today on BEC Talks. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have a business or you're looking to accelerate or even are interested in entrepreneurship as a whole, join us at 41 George Street at the Brampton Entrepreneur Centre. We offer free business consultations, in-person seminars for any entrepreneurs looking to up their game. And you can also visit our website at www.brampton.ca/BEC and stay tuned for the next episode. And Sherry-Anne, thank you so much for your time. SACB Consulting, we'll see you again.
Thank you. And I'll say that you can just go onto our website. There are resources there as well, and you can book a free call.
Amazing. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Thanks for listening, and join us next time when we discuss all things small business.